The quarantine bay of Station Helios 9 ran on cold perfection. Air filters whispered. Lights stayed harsh. Every surface gleamed like it had never known dust. Behind a transparent barrier, a small creature huddled in the far corner. No bigger than a human forearm. Midnight blue fur. And under that fur, soft bioluminescent patterns. Swirls. Dots. Slow pulses that matched each frightened breath. NORA pressed her palm to the glass. She had repaired conduit lines, patched hull plates, and crawled through vents with her elbows bleeding. But this was the first time the station felt like a cage. A calm voice spoke from the ceiling. Station Helios said. Specimen 4471R. Juvenile NIXARI. Estimated age 6 cycles. Status orphaned. Origin NYX Prime, Sector 9. Cleared for immediate disposal per Galactic Concordat Article 47, Subsection 12. The words hit like ice. NYX Prime had been glassed 3 weeks ago. A dead world. Collateral damage, they called it. A line in a report. A problem erased with plasma. NORA stared at the cub. It did not look like a threat. It looked like loss made small. Her jaw tightened. Delay disposal protocol, she said. Station Helios replied. Engineer Nora-chan, you lack authorization to override Code 77 Alpha. NORA did not raise her voice. She did not beg. She simply breathed, slow and steady. Human Auxiliary Protocol. Personal exemption, she said. The station paused. Processing. The Concordat had learned something about humans. Not through treaties. Not through war. But through stubborn, quiet acts that refused to fit the rules. Station Helios replied. Personal exemption granted. You have 72 hours. NORA exhaled, like she had been holding her breath for years. She tapped the control panel. The barrier dimmed from opaque to clear. The cub flinched at the change, eyes wide. Opalescent eyes. Too bright for the dark corner. Too young to carry that much terror. NORA lowered herself to the floor. Cross-legged. Hands empty. Voice soft. Hey there, she whispered. I'm not going to hurt you. Her translator clicked, then failed. The NIXARI language had died with their world. But fear did not need translation. And neither did kindness. NORA reached into her belt and pulled out a ration bar. The sweet kind, the one she saved for long shifts. She broke off a piece and set it on the floor, just inside the barrier. Then she leaned back against the wall. And she waited. Minutes passed. Then more. The cub's nose twitched. Its patterns flickered. Fear blue faded into cautious yellow-green. Still, it did not move. NORA stayed anyway. She did not talk much. She did not reach. She did not stare. She simply existed. A quiet, steady shape in a world that had only shown this cub doors and alarms. After nearly an hour, the cub crept forward. One step. Then another. Tiny pause, careful as if the floor might bite back. It sniffed the ration piece. Then it looked up at NORA. Those eyes asked a question no machine could answer. NORA swallowed. It is okay, she murmured. Take it. The cub ate. Not fast. Not greedy. Like it was afraid the taste would vanish. NORA let herself smile. Just a little. In her mind, she named it Ariane. The station had called it a specimen. A number. A disposal task. But NORA could not think in numbers anymore. Day 1 became day 2. NORA returned between shifts. Each visit longer. She brought water. She brought warmer rations. She brought a small blanket from her own quarters. She sat in the same spot. Same calm posture. Same gentle voice. And she spoke to Ariane like it mattered. About the stars outside the observation deck. About the maintenance drones that always got stuck in the same corner. About the break room coffee machine that somehow made liquid regret. Ariane listened. Not with words. with ears that tilted, with patterns that changed, with breathing that slowed when Nora stayed. On day 2, the patterns stopped pulsing in panic every time a door hissed open. On day 3, Ian pressed closer to the barrier when Nora arrived. Waiting. As if waiting was a kind of hope. Nora's comm crackled that afternoon. Dr. Quillix, the station xenobiologist, spoke with clipped concern. Engineer, the creature cannot survive without pack structure. You are prolonging its suffering. Nora did not look away from Ian. Or maybe, she said, I'm giving it a chance. Dr. Quillix's mandibles clicked in agitation. The regulations are clear. No unaligned species can be granted asylum without a sponsor world. NYX Prime no longer exists. Nora knew. She had read every line, every clause, every cold paragraph that ended in the same word. Disposal. But on the final day, when she entered the quarantine bay, Ian was not in the corner. Ian was pressed against the barrier, waiting for her. The cub's patterns had stabilized into a soft amber. Not joy. Not yet. But no longer despair. Nora sat down. And for the first time, she rested her hand near the barrier controls. She could open it. Her fingers hovered. Dr. Quillix's voice crackled again through the comm. Engineer Chun, this is a severe protocol violation. I know, Nora whispered. She muted the channel. Then she opened the barrier. The air shifted. A soft hiss. A new space made real. Ian froze. Every muscle tight. Nora kept her hands open. It is okay, she said. You are safe. Ian stepped out. One small step into a world that had only ever threatened it. It sniffed Nora's palm. Then, impossibly, it leaned closer. And Ren's throat vibrated. A sound emerged. Rough. Unpracticed. But shaped with desperate will. Let me stay. Nora's breath caught. The NIXARI were not supposed to mimic complex speech. Not supposed to learn outside their own language. But here was a cub that had lost everything, forcing words through grief because words were the only weapon it had left. Nora's chest tightened until it hurt. I cannot, she whispered. I do not have the authority. I am sorry. She tried to stand. Her legs did not answer. The room tilted. Lights streaked. A siren rose somewhere distant, like the station itself had decided to notice her only now. Nora fell. She felt the floor slam her shoulder. Felt cold metal against her cheek. Then she felt something warm press against her side. Ren. Small body. Steady weight. As if the cub was trying to hold her in place. Darkness rolled in. When consciousness returned, it came slowly. Like surf pulling her back from deep water. Nora opened her eyes to a sterile white ceiling. Dr. Yavish loomed above her. A Centauran physician with too many eyes and no patience for drama. Radiation poisoning, Dr. Yavish said. The conduit you repaired in Sector 12 yesterday was leaking beta particles. You received a near-lethal dose. Nora tried to swallow. Her throat felt like sand. The cub, she rasped. Where is Ian? Dr. Wavish's eyes blinked in sequence. The NIXARI juvenile is in temporary custody. You have been unconscious for 16 hours. Nora's heart lurched. Why did they not dispose of it? She whispered. Dr. Yavish made a sound that might have been a sigh. Because the creature refused to leave your side during extraction. It attacked 3 security officers and a medical drone. We had to sedate it. Nora stared, stunned. Ren. A cub that had trembled in a corner. A cub that had begged. Had fought. Dr. Yavish continued. The Galactic Concordat has extended your exemption period, pending your recovery. Why? Nora croaked. Dr. Yavish paused, as if even logic had to stretch. Because your case attracted attention. The human delegation on Concord Prime has filed a motion to classify the NIXARI as sentient beings under the Refugee Protection Act. Nora closed her eyes. Let me stay, she whispered. Precisely, Dr. Yavish said. The evidence includes vocal recordings. Nora turned her head toward the observation window. There was Ariane, curled up on a small medical bed, tiny chest rising and falling. The patterns on Ren's fur were a deep worried purple. Even asleep, Ariane carried fear like a second skin. Nora's vision blurred. She did not wipe the tears. She let them fall, quiet and hot. 3 months passed. Nora stood before the Concordat Council on Concord Prime. The chamber was vast. Cold marble and floating holograms. Delegates in every shape and sound. Words echoed in harmonics, clicks, and translated tones. Law stacked on law. And yet, the room kept returning to one small truth. Anne perched on Nora's shoulder. Still small, but stronger. Patterns now a confident gold. Eyes no longer dull with exhaustion. Ariane had learned 17 words in Standard Common. Not because anyone forced it. Because Ariane wanted to be understood. The vote was close. Some argued tradition. Some argued fear. Some argued that a dead species should remain dead, cleanly filed away. But humanity had allies. Species that remembered what it felt like to be hunted. To be displaced. To be told your life was a problem for someone else to solve. And in the end, the council voted. Sanctuary granted. The NIXARI remnant, however small, would live. Under human protection. Under refugee law. Under a new name. Not specimen. Not disposal. Not collateral. People. Nora let out a breath she had been holding since the day the stationary spoke that sentence. Anne nuzzled against her cheek. Home, Ariane whispered. Nora smiled through shaking lips. Home, she said. And in that moment, the galaxy learned, again, what happens when a human decides something is worth saving. Humans do not just survive. They choose. They bond. They fight for the small and the lost. Even when every rule says to look away. Back on Station Helios 9, the quarantine bay was no longer called a disposal room. The notice on the door changed. Containment became care. Security officers stopped calling Ariane a specimen. They started saying cub. Even Dr. Quillix stopped arguing and simply watched. Not with fear. With careful respect. And Nora, still an engineer with tired eyes and scarred hands, learned something simple. Saving one life does not fix a war. But it can change a rule. And one changed rule can save the next lost child. So yeah. The Concordat called it a disruption. Humans called it doing the right thing. If you enjoyed this story, support the channel Survival Arena HFY. Like the video. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. And comment your favorite moment.